Okay, so brewery, you have to find someone already qualified and with studies. It's not something you can train someone like, hey, this quantity of this, then this process, and repeat, right? Because you gotta have a recipe written down.
Sort of. Yeah, sort of. So beer is, I like to think of beer as like it's both an art and a science, right? Because you can do exactly like you're saying. You can come in, you can give somebody a recipe, you can say, hey, you needed this temperature water, this much green, et cetera, and you should at the end of the day come up with the same product. Unfortunately, at our scale, it doesn't work that way always.
Okay.
Because it's a little complicated. I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but as far as beer production goes, you want to make sure that like temperature is a lot. So when we're talking about beer, we talk about hot side and cold side, right? So hot side being that's where we make everything before it ferments, and then when we put it into the fermenter, that's the cold side. So just like a quick TLDR on how to make beer. The hot side is where you basically make the sugar water for the yeast to eat to make the alcohol and to make the beer. So on the hot side, like the name implies, there's a ton of different temperatures. I'm just going to pick one variable. There's a ton of different temperatures involved in making beer on the hot side of things. And so if you don't nail your temperatures right, it can change the beer at the end product drastically. So there's so many different little variables involved in just temperature that go into the process all the way through fermentation, that if you're off by a couple degrees here and there throughout the process, it could really screw up the flavors. So when things, and it doesn't sound that complicated, but when things break or when things don't go the way that they're supposed to, a really experienced brewer can be like, okay, we need to do this, that, or the other thing to then make sure that we get the same end result. And so you could train somebody, and that's the beauty of kind of like the big beer, like the Coors, is that, you can be an operator, you can just push buttons and get the same product, right? But for our scale, there's just a lot more variables that go into just so many more variables that go into the small scale.
Humidity of the air.
Humidity of the air, the temperature in which we boil at, which may be arbitrary, but at sea level, it's 215 degrees Fahrenheit. Up here, if we have a high pressure sunny day, it's 200 degrees. If it's raining or snowing, it might be as low as 197 degrees. And so then you need to know, like, hey, we need to boil an extra couple minutes kind of thing, just to make sure that we get all of the off flavors out of there. So it's just little things like that. The humidity, the building's not well insulated, so stuff could be colder in the wintertime, hotter in the summertime. You need to be able to make small adjustments that make a big impact at the very end.